Hello, welcome to episode 236 in Datapack Tutorials 1.2.1.8. We're going to be making a sign glow when you look at it. This is a question from the RCVie. Okay, let's remember the keys. So there's a sign. I'm not looking at it. Now I am. Now I'm not. Now I am. Now I'm not. Now I am. Okay. Now, if you want, you can skip ahead to the timestamp and see how we make it. But first, a little bit of blah, blah, blah. I don't think this is the best version to do it, because if you remember a few episodes ago, 231, we did how to kill an entity when you look at it. And this is basically the same thing. We are looking at an entity because there's an item frame. You can't see it because it's invisible. And we're using that item frame to check if we're looking here. And then we're using that item frame to get the coordinates of the sign. Sergi sent me how to improve kill an entity when looked at, and I've looked at it. It uses a binary search instead of a raycast. Apparently it's more efficient. I trust him completely. But I haven't got my head around it yet, so I haven't done a tutorial on it. So expect this to be updated as well as the kill entity when looked at episode 231, because if it's more efficient and we're not constantly sending a raycast, then we should be doing that. So what I think I'm going to do is, if I can't really explain it properly, I'm going to drop a tutorial on it anyway, and it'll be a case of, hey, don't ask me how it's working, just do what I'm doing. But anyway, enough of the blurb. How is this working? How is it working? We are looking at it, and we have a predicate to see if we're looking at an entity, and we're checking for the item frame, which is invisible. And if we are looking at the item frame, then we're doing something. So let's do a reload, because I've already emptied the data pack. So if I do a reload, well, it does help if you actually do reload, and you'll see now it doesn't work. Cool. So let's pop over to the data pack and build it now. Let's get this working. Okay. I think the first thing we'll do, only because it's orange and it seems very unhappy, is we'll do that looking at predicate. So here we are, looking JSON. I bet there's lots of improvements we can make to this. So let's pop over to Misode, as we always do for our predicates. There's predicate because I've recently used it. If you haven't recently used it, it will be in all generators. There's one already there. Let's reset to default. Typically I get a message. It could be important. I'm going to have to check it at some point. So we are going to check the entity properties of this and check for a predicate. Now we need to do looking at, so it is type specific because we have to do a player check. Only the player can do looking at. And so we'll have looking at, and we are going to look at the type string, and I'm just going to type item frame. And at the same time I'm doing that, I'm going to open up my phone. There we go. Let's make a start on that. So we'll do item frame. And there we have our predicate. Are we looking at an item frame? Cool. Let's copy that. Let's take it back to VS Code and let's paste it in there. Wait, you don't have to do that. I just do it to be tidy. Okay, so we've got our predicate. Now we have a true or a false if we are looking at an item frame. Cool. Let's give ourselves the item frame. Actually, let's go back to the world. Let's get rid of this sign. Now you'll see, if I try and break this block, nothing happened. Well, something did happen. What happened is I broke the invisible item frame. So now it's not there. Cool, so we should, in fact, let's break the block as well, just to make sure. Can we do an entity check? Execute as any entity, run, say hi. Only me. So I am the only entity in the world. So the item frame has definitely died. Cool. Okay. Let's give ourselves an item frame. So we'll give at S, the person or the thing executing the command, an item frame. Let's use the namespace. But we're going to need some entity data. So let's do entity data. And that will equal, open, close some curlies. Right. Well, if we're going to put entity data in there, we'll better put the ID back in there. So it is a Minecraft item frame. Okay. And I want it to be invisible. So we can put 1B. We can put 1B. We should also be able to put true. They both mean the same thing. I like to put true. You know, it's up to you. Tags. I'm going to tag it as well because I like to tag everything. And let's say it's not actually a marker entity, but it is marking the sign. So I think I'm going to call it marker sign. Let's save that. Okay, let's go back. Let's do the reload. Let's run the function give item frame. There's my item frame. So I'm going to put it down. I'm going to put it here. Right, we don't really see anything. It should still be there. So let's run that command again that we did a minute ago. Execute as all entities say hi. Ah, there we go. Now I'm saying hi and an item frame is saying hi. So it must be you that we've just placed. So if we put another one down here and we run that command again, actually, first let's clear the chat so we can see it clearly. F3 and D. Let's run that command again. Now we have 2 item frames. Okay, let's get rid of this one. He's gone. Okay, cool. Well, let's go back. So we've done the give. We're going to need a couple of scores. So let's go to load and let's set one to store a value. So let's just do scoreboard, objectives, add value dummy. Is the sign glowing? Scoreboard, objectives, add, let's call it glow. And you will be a dummy as well. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a timer. So when we look away from the sign, it will count down until the sign stops glowing. Makes it a bit more flexible. So that seems all right. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's go to the tick. It's probably more important now. So we need to process the item frames, but we also need to check if the player is looking at an item frame. Okay. So let's execute as any entity whose type equals Minecraft item frame, and we gave it a tag. Tag equals marker sign. Okay. At that entity, run function process item frame. And now let's do the check. Execute as any player. But we need to know if they're looking at the item frame. Well, we've got a predicate for that. So predicate equals is looking. At S, run function, and we'll initialize a raycast. So if we are looking at an item frame, we will start raycasting. We'll start looking in front of ourselves. And this one is just going to execute as every item frame whose tag is marker sign. Okay, that seems good. Let's save that. Now, I suppose the first thing to do would be to actually tag the frame or something. We need to know that we're looking at it. So let's do the raycast first. So let's move on to raycast init. Set the maximum number of steps. We're going to use the value for that. How many steps do we want? Scoreboard. We'll do players. And we'll do set. And let's give it a name that kind of makes sense. So we'll say raycast. Raycast max steps. I think I've used that before. And then we'll use that value. And we'll set it to... Let's set it to 64. Okay, that doesn't mean 64 blocks. This is kind of in a way, it's kind of an arbitrary number. It depends how far you're moving each raycast step. And for our raycast, because the item frame is quite thin, so for our raycast, we're going to be moving 0.05 of a block. So this raycast is not really going very far. So you can always reduce the number or make the number higher. We'll do a little look at that later. So let's start the raycast. So to start it, we would want to execute. We'd want to be able to type in English, I suppose. Execute, and then we'll anchor it to our eyes, because we don't want to be running our raycast from our feet. So let's run it from our eyes. And then we'll do positioned, caret, 1. So we'll start one block in front of ourselves in the direction we're looking, and we'll run function raycast. We'll save that. Now the steps, we'll demonstrate that shortly, but for now, this is done. Let's go to raycast. So first thing we need to do is decrement the amount of steps. So scoreboard, players, remove. What did we call them? Oh, that's handy. Thank you very much, VS Code. We called them raycast max steps. And we're going to decrease your value by 1. So every time this whole function repeats, we'll go down by 1. And remember, we set it to 64. And then we'll loop the function. Execute. If score raycast max steps value matches 1 or higher. Okay. So if we still have something left in the value, remember we start at 64 and we're counting down. If it gets to 0, boop, we stop. But we're also going to do a positioned a little bit in front, 0.5 in front. So we're stepping 0.5 of a block each time. And we will run the function, well, we'll try to run the function. We will run the function raycast. Okay, so what are we doing here? We're coming in with a value of 64. We're not doing that yet. And then we're going here and saying, oh, well, 64 is higher than, it is 1 or higher. So we'll move forward. Do I want 0.5 of a block? No, I want 0.05 of a block or 0.05 of a block because an item frame is very thin. So we're going to move forward a little bit and then we're going to run this function again and we'll take a score off and then we'll move forward a little bit and then we'll run this function again. And that's what we're going to keep doing. So each time we keep doing that, now we're going to check to see if there is something there. So we're going to do an execute as any entity whose type equals, whose bad spelling equals. If I do item frame first, will you autofill? Yes, you will. Okay, whose tag equals, and we called it marker sign. That was your tag, wasn't it? And we're just going to add in here a dx equals 0. Never fully understand this. I have older videos that explain this a little bit more. For now, I'm in a hurry because I have classes very shortly. So we're going to kind of skip over the explanation, but we're going to do positioned. We want 3 of the curlies. How do I do the curlies on this computer? There we go. And we're going to set them to -0.99, -0.99. Now I'm going slow at this bit because last time I did this, in the video where I explained it, I missed one of the minus signs and it confused me for ages. If entity add s dx equals 0. If entity add s dx equals 0, then we need @s, and we'll do a run. Now we've hit the item frame, so we don't want to keep looping. So we're going to do a return and exit this function. But before we exit this function, we will run another function, raycast hit. Let's just have a little look. It looks okay. Okay. So we loop through. We come in and our score is, let's say, 100. We don't hit an item. Our little raycast doesn't hit an item frame with that tag. So we have a check of the score. Our score is 100. We move forward just a little bit and then we run again. So now our score is 99. If we don't hit the item frame, we're 99, which is more than 0, and we run again. So we keep doing that. And we're obviously looking at the item frame because we specified that before we got here. Okay, so let's do raycast hit. If we do hit set the glow score, okay, so let's set a score for it for glowing. Now we could just set the data instantly, but I'm going to set a score. Maybe it's a bit more interesting. Anyway, let's just do scoreboard, players. Who are we executing at? That's a good question. So if we look at the raycast, we are executing as the item frame. So I can use @s. Okay, that's good. So I can do scoreboard players @s. So this will be the item frame. No. We have to say what we're going to do. There we go. @s. And we'll set your glow value. And now here's where we have another sort of arbitrary choice. I'm going to set it to 5 for now. We'll come back in the waffle section and play with some of these values. So let's set it to 5. Well, I think we've got something we could possibly test there. So let's go back and reload. Do we have an item frame here? It's very hard to tell, isn't it? There's a problem with invisible item frames. So we do have one. Do we know what it is? It should be there. So let's get that scoreboard actually displayed. Let's get that glow value displayed. Okay, so it has a glow. So let's try and put another scoreboard here. And that instantly gets a 5. Well, not surprising because I am looking at it. Okay. So let's do something. Let's do something with that score. Okay, let's go back. And if we look in the tick, remember we are processing item frames. So any item frame whose tag is marker sign @yourself run function process item frame. Cool. Let's go and do something there. I think the first thing probably we want to do is decrement the score. Let's do that first. Scoreboard, players, remove. Well, we're actually pointing and we're running as the sign. So we can do @s. Let's just do this for now. Glow 1. Okay, let's just do that. Save. Let's go back. Let's do a reload. Let's attempt to do a reload. Oh. Okay. Great. Well, now we don't really need it going down that low, actually. So let's do something about that. Let's do a score check in here. So @s whose scores equals glow equals 1 or higher. Save. Now let's go back. Yeah, you're still going down there. Yep. Reload. Okay, that's a bit better. Let's break this invisible item frame. Let's put another one there. We are looking at it, so it gets given 5. We are still looking at it, so we're constantly giving it 5. If we look away, drops to 0. We look back, we give it 5. We look away, drops to 0. Okay, that seems pretty good. So now we just need to check those scores to do something to it. So make the sign glow. Execute at S. We need to do a score check. Scores equals. Here we are hard coding these scores. Remember, we put I think we put 5, didn't we, in the raycast hit? So we put 5. So we should use 5 now as well. Glow equals 5 or higher. Run data merge block at these coordinates. So this is really why we've got the item frame, is so we can get these coordinates. So where the item frame is, we are going to merge in some data. We're going to merge in to the front text, the front text. No, infernal. The front text. And then you need another one, and we will. It used to be. No, it's has glowing. Has glowing. Oh my God, it changes. There we go. Thank you. Oh no, it's has glowing text. Oh, thank you very much, VS Code, for pointing that out. That would have thrown me off for a while. Has glowing text. We could put a 1B. We could also put a true. Like I said, I prefer to use true. Okay, so let's save that. So now if we look at the sign and it has a score of 5 or higher. No, not the sign, sorry. Now if we look at the item frame and it has a score of 5 or higher, it will data merge into the block at its location. Front text has glowing. Now, only signs have front text, but we can test that. So let's do a reload. Now, obviously, if I do this, we're not going to see anything because there is no sign there. We need a sign. So let's get a sign. And it shouldn't matter what sign it is. Which one do you want to pick? Did you say, which one? That one. Okay. Obviously, I can't hear you. Now, careful. There is an item frame sitting there. So we'll click on the edge. And let's just say, hey, you. Oh, yeah, I mean, we could be like other people and say subscribe, but we can't be bothered. Cool. So we set it to 5. And our tick has come through and executed as any item frame mark a sign. And that is jumped off to process item frame, who says, well, you're an item frame with a glow of 5, are you not? Then I shall make you glow. And that is definitely what we're seeing. Now we need to remove the glow. But we are also removing the score. So if we look away, score drops down and we're on 0. So nice and easy, isn't it? Now all we have to do is check if the score is 0, and then we do a data merge again and remove the glow. So in fact, we can probably just copy this line. We'll copy that. We'll stick it in there. Execute at S. That's good. We don't want 5 or higher. I think we'll just put 1. Only work if the score is 1. And then we'll just change that from a true to a false. And remember, as I said before, true equates to 1B. And false equates to 0B. So sometimes if you're looking at other things, you might see the 1B, 0B. It means in a Boolean check, it means exactly the same as true and false. I just like to put true and false. That's just me. So we'll do false and we'll save that. So now we look at it, it gets glow 5. As long as it's got 5 or higher, we make it glow. If it's 4, we do nothing. If it's 3, we do nothing. If it's 2, we do nothing. If it's 1, we stop it glowing. If it's less than 1, we do nothing at all. Okay, that should be good. Make sure we're saved. Let's pop back. Let's do a reload. And we'll look at you. And we'll look away. Hey, there we go. So we set it to 5. We're on 5. Cool. As long as it Now it drops down. So it's definitely working. Let's play around. So where we were on raycast hits, let's set this to 50. So now we're going to look at it and it's going to set the score to 50. And then when we're processing the item frame, 5 or higher. Okay, well 50 is definitely higher than 5, so that should give it glowing. But the problem you're going to find here is when it's 50, it's going to data merge. When it's 49, it's going to data merge. When it's 48, it's going to data merge. When it's 47, it's going to... Okay, so we don't need... I think we'll just say 50 or higher. So it should only data merge once. We don't want to keep doing that data merge. And then it's going to drop down to 1. And data merge in false. And as long as it's higher than 1, we'll remove, well, 1 or higher, sorry, that is 1 or higher. Then we'll remove 1. Okay, so now, if we look away, what we should find is it should be glowing for 50 ticks. So let's do a reload. So we look, 50 ticks is 2.5 seconds. We look away, off. We can see it counting down. Off. There we go. Cool. It definitely works. And you've got an adjustable amount of time before the thing fades. I think this is probably too long. 50 is too long. I kind of like the 5. So I'm going to set it back to 5. So we're going to change this one, this glow here to 5 or higher. We're going to save that. We're going to change this to 5. We're going to save that. We're going to go back. We're going to do a reload. So now I can look at it. That was not part of the tutorial. I misclicked. I'll put a sign back on there. Oops. There you go. Doesn't matter about the sign, as long as the item frame is there. If we break the item frame, which we can do, because it should be just about here. Now. Yeah, nothing. Nothing. It needs this invisible item frame we gave ourselves. So we pop that on there. We can look at that. There we go. It's off. So if we want to set one up, all we have to do is take our frame. We slap it on the wall. We stick a sign on there. Does this work? We look at it. It certainly does work. It's anywhere where we stick one of these item frames. We'll do it here as well. Look. Ooh, how exciting. Yep, they will all work wherever you put one of those item frames, if there is a sign. Now, to be honest, if there isn't a sign there, don't stick an item frame there, because all you're doing is adding an extra entity to check. Kind of seems pointless. So, we are done. Hopefully, this answers RCVie's question. Now, you do have the problem of... how do I know where I've put all my item frames? Well, that's up to you. Let's get rid of that scoreboard. Scoreboard objectives. We'll do set display sidebar. Nothing. Now we'll remove that. We'll get rid of that sign. We'll get rid of that one. Now, if you do go around and put all these signs over your world and you can't get rid of them, then just obviously comment. But don't do that. Okay, so hopefully answers that question for RCVie. And as I said before, Galsergi showed me such a better way to do the, or more efficient way to do the zombie killing thing. And basically that's the same as what we did here. We look at something and then it's all about how do we know who we're looking at? And maybe it came from CloudWolf, I think, where it was a binary search. Anyway, Galsergi's even given me an entire data pack. I could literally just read it out and copy it to you. And I thought what I should do is I should try at least understand it more myself before I do that. And I'm not doing that great at understanding it so far. But I think now we have 2 videos that are using the same technique. I think I'm going to have to upload it. So at least I can just say, hey, what we're doing here is good. It works. It's fine. But possibly you should be doing this. and then maybe later on I just explain it. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling and waffling, as I often do. Have a great day. Take care. Thank you very much to Galsergi, not for this one, but for the improvement I'll be doing later. See you soon. Bye-bye.